Hello, I'm Trevor Donaldson, and on behalf of Team 10, I'll be presenting DP2. Our product is the Multiburr, which is a multifunctional deburring tool for both hobbyists and machinists. So let's get into it. We used multiple methods to aid in the planning of our product. So we started by kind of analyzing the market, figuring out kind of what we wanted our product to look like by looking at competition. And then also we completed some customer surveys, which helped us kind of analyze what needs may not be met in the current market today. And then kind of made a mission statement just kind of as a culmination of all of these things to help guide our product and kind of the analysis of it and the development of it. Alright, so we made a concept combination table to kind of help further analyze our product and develop it. So we started with solution fragments, which are kind of individual functions our tool could have and the different ways that you could kind of achieve those functions. So replaceable deburring blade is one. We want our product to be able to have a blade that deburrs stuff, but we also want it to be replaceable, so when it wears out, you can put a new one on there. Increase the life of our tool. Next, file storage method. We want our product to incorporate a file, but we don't necessarily want it to make the product bigger or bulky. So instead, we want it stored inside the body of the tool. Another one, deburring hard to reach areas. So kind of making our tool the proper geometry to get into the locations you might need to. Additionally, deburring holes. So as opposed to the deburring blade, kind of just a quick and easy way to deburr kind of smaller holes. It's a very common need, and this ultimately is kind of aimed at finding what tools do you need for 95% of the processes that you're going to be doing, and kind of making a tool to do that. And then we made two potential solutions each. Here are two of those solutions, and just kind of started to think about what our product could look like. And then in the final design, we ended up kind of taking parts from each one of our potential solutions to create the final version of our product. So here are the kind of three functions that we ended up deciding on using. Starting on the left, we used a chamfer bit, which is again to deburr small holes. Next, a deburring scraper, which is larger holes, edges, kind of quite versatile. And then lastly, a file, which is also quite versatile, very common tool, but very necessary. And kind of the reason that we felt like we wanted to make like a really quality tool and focus on customer needs is because our product is a derivation of other products and kind of combines a lot of other existing things. So while it's not revolutionary perhaps, it is, we want it to be as usable as possible. So by kind of surveying customers and seeing what they want and what they require in a tool, we kind of pick these three functions to help facilitate that and make sure our product is competitive. Okay, so here's the actual design of our tool, and our main goal here was kind of taking those three functions in the previous slide and incorporating them into one tool without compromising any of the function of each of these individual tools. So starting over here on the left, we have the cap for the deburring scraper, so the user does not get cut because it is essentially a blade. Next, we have the kind of method to retain the deburring scraper to hold it in place, and again that goes back to kind of the replaceability and the serviceability of our product. Then we have the file and the set screw that holds it in place. And that does fold inside the body, so it is out of the way of the user until they need it. And then in a similar fashion, the chamfer bit is also held onto the body of the tool. So here's that kind of method of connection between the purchased tool component and the body of our tool. And that is it's almost like a collet system. So as you thread on the cap, it kind of tightens the tool into kind of the jaws, which will provide plenty of clamping force for when you're deburring parts, but also allow the user to remove these blades. And on the chamfer bit end, exact same thing. And then over here on the right is what our product will look like in its kind of final form, what it'll look like assembled sitting on your workbench. Next, we wanted to kind of ensure the usability and make sure we weren't making any mistakes in our design. So kind of before and kind of while we were developing that final CAD model, we did a failure modes and effects analysis, which helped ensure our product would be durable and competitive in the market. So starting here on the left, we have the sharpness of the tool. Again, just the reusability and the replaceability of our blades and of the tool. So if a blade wears out, you want your tool to still be usable. So that was kind of one key thing that we kind of focused on and centered our design around. Next, sharp components. So as you saw in the previous slide with the CAD model, the deburring scraper is a blade. So we wanted a cap to cover that up and make sure the user didn't get cut. That was a potential kind of downfall of our product, so we wanted to make sure that was taken care of. And then also, the cap allows you to really grip the tool and make sure you it's ergonomic and you don't have to worry about kind of keeping the sharp bits away from yourself. And then over here on the right is kind of our full failure modes and effects analysis table. So we did also get feedback from another group. Two things that they brought up was the cap that holds both the deburring scraper and the chamfer bit on could get cross-threaded, which would kind of render our entire tool useless, which is something that we don't want to happen. So a potential solution that we came up with was making the cap of the tool a different material, a weaker material than the actual body. That way, if it did get cross-threaded, we could end up just replacing the cap instead of having to buy an entire new tool. And then additionally, they mentioned the thumb screw that holds the file on could be easily lost. So in order to kind of remedy that, we thought maybe you could include like a small snap ring to hold the screw on to the body of the tool, just so when you do unscrew that screw and take the file out to use it, you don't end up losing the screw and kind of crippling a third of your product's function. And then lastly, we made a bill of materials during our product design, and that really helped with kind of forcing us to think about how we want the product to really enter the market and what we want to target. Because if we buy really expensive things and expensive components, that's going to translate to the customer. So we wanted to kind of balance that. Yes, we're selling to professionals, but we're also selling to hobbyists. So this really did help in the development of our CAD model and kind of thinking through what our product was going to end up looking like and how much was it going to cost, where we are sourcing these things. So yeah, that's all I have. Thank you guys.